The Exeter group, we have had a small meeting room in the Exeter Rowing Club, which we're extremely thankful for, and that's sort of kept us going. But the group size is increasing such that we needed somewhere bigger. So we got back in touch with Exeter Football Club, which is where we all began, and they've managed to find us a room which is much larger, better ventilation, and it just means that we're going to be able to continue to meet the needs of the men that come to find us, and it's the way that we're growing. It's much needed.
Across Devon, where do you currently have sites, and when do they meet?
So across Devon, Andy's Man Club started in Newton Abbot. Since then it's spread from there to Plymouth, one in Torbay, and in Exeter.
Can you talk to me about the types of people that come to the club, and what kind of backgrounds, what kind of difficulties are they usually having?
Do you know what? It's really interesting. There's, we open the doors to any man over the age of 18, and we've had a spread of people from 18 right the way through to people in their 80s and everywhere in between. We've had people from their background being predominantly in the UK. We've had people that are quite recently from other countries too. What we say is, we don't say that our group is specifically for a certain type of person. We get people that are referred from doctors, from hospitals, even the police, people that are going through sort of anxiety and depression. When I first turned it up, I didn't know what those words even meant. So, when I hear about somebody who is depressed, I didn't put myself in that category. But we have people that are going through relationship breakdowns, people that have recently lost their jobs, people that have moved to the area and they've got no friends, and things aren't really working out the way they had hoped. It really doesn't matter what the problem is. For me, I didn't really even have an external problem. It was just something that I didn't have, wasn't feeling happy. So it's we get all sorts really. It's a very broad church.
How does it work? Somebody walks in the door, what could they expect?
Every Andy's Man Club operates in exactly the same way. There's around 60 groups across the country, and the online group as well. So somebody arrives at the door. We've always got a group of guys hanging out the front, just to make it a little bit less daunting walking through those doors alone. You're never alone. So we tend to start the session at 7 o'clock. So usually people arrive a little bit early to grab themselves a cup of tea. We've always got free tea and coffee on the go. So grab a cuppa, find a seat, and then the session begins. And it always starts off with a little bit of a introduction, how the session's going to run. So nobody's left there thinking, what am I doing here? We have a series of 5 questions every week. The first 3 questions are always the same. So it's, how's your week been? And then everybody gets the opportunity to talk if they choose to. No one has to. The second question is always one highlight from your week. So again, it might be that you got out of bed on time one day. It could be the fact that you've turned up at Andy's Man Club that night. It really doesn't have to be groundbreaking. It's not, we're not asking for everybody to have climbed Everest or have some amazing story to tell. And then the third question is something to get off your chest. That is really an opportunity for people to really go for whatever it is that's bothering them. A lot of people use it as a negative. We have seen people use it as a positive. We had a guy, one of the younger group, saying that his something to get off his chest was that he got the grades that he was expecting at his A levels, and so for him that was just like it was, it's a real positive that he wanted to bring to the group, and that's cool. Absolutely, we welcome that too. Really, it's about whatever's playing on your mind, and it's not always a bad thing that's going through your mind, which is a great release. So then we have a bit of a break, chance to grab another tea or coffee, have a chat with some of the other guys around the room. There's some real friendships growing through Andy's Man Club. People that come in week in, week out, and really get to know other people in the room that, from different backgrounds, there's no chance they would have ever met if it wasn't for a group like this. So after 5-10 minutes, we'll sit back down. Questions 4, question 5. These are always a change. They're always the same across the country, so everybody is answering the same questions. So if you end up being on holiday or away on business or whatever, you can check in with the local Andy's Man Club group and get exactly the same experience. Questions 4 and 5 are usually a little bit off the wall, so it might be things like, I don't know, if you could be any animal, what would it be and why? Sort of those sort of things. We're not asking people to catch them out. It's just about taking people's minds, brains to somewhere where they wouldn't normally be. And then the question 5 is, we always end up on a bit of a high. So it'll be like, what's your favorite cheesy tune, or, what's your favorite movie, those kind of things. It's just a very quick, rapid fire. And then done and dusted, round of applause, and come back next week. It's, a great way to start the week.
And as facilitators, there's no formal qualification, is there? And can you just remind me how the club started and what was the reason for them coming into existence?
All the facilitators that run the groups, none of them have got any qualifications themselves. Obviously we have support from Andy's Man Club as an organisation, but we're just guys who walk through the doors in need for themselves first of all, and after a period of months, whatever it takes, you sort of get yourself back on a bit of an even keel. And some of the guys choose to stay involved and help out with running the show, and that's where they become facilitators. Andy was a regular guy. He had a good family around him. This goes back about 5 years ago now. Out of the blue, he died by suicide. It was completely unexpected. There's videos around YouTube of his family and friends, and just completely saying how much of a shock it was that one day he was there and the next he wasn't. And so his family decided that there's an opportunity here. There's an opportunity for providing a service to men who are bottling it up inside, to come along, have a chat, realize that it's okay to talk. It normalizes the whole stigma of having troubles in your mind. We all get troubles. It's just that some people, they become too much, and they don't see a future and any option or any other way out. There always is another way out. It's just a matter of having a shoulder to lean on and find it.
And for you personally, is there any standout moments from your time being involved? Any kind of stories you can share of people perhaps starting in a dark place and really turning things around?
So again, going back to a chap I mentioned a little bit earlier on, he was very young at the time when he first arrived. He was going through sixth form and didn't seem to have a lot of support from his teachers. So from all angles, he was basically being told that he was never going to really amount to anything. He'd actually already attempted suicide before he came to Andy's Man Club, but he came along. He says he walked past the club 2 or 3 weeks in a row without having that courage to walk in. But on that third go, he did come in and just sort of sat at the side for a while for the first night, and came again the next week and managed to say a little bit more. Over the period of the last 2 years that he's been involved, he has completed his A-levels. He has gone to university, and he is very shortly going to be setting up his own group of Andy's Man Club in a city that didn't have a presence before. So, to turn that around in such a short space of time has been absolutely magical to see.
That is fantastic. You mentioned, as well as the physical groups, there is an online presence. Is that still continuing? How does that work?
Yeah, so the online presence obviously came about because there was a need all of a sudden. It was pretty rapid, really. If you remember back to March 2020, we'd heard about COVID, and then all of a sudden we couldn't go and see the people that we wanted to see. So we set up this online platform, very, very much like Zoom, and we continue to do that for however many months it was. There's a lot of the guys that started going to that realised that they wanted that service to continue, but they lived too far away from the nearest group, or they had particular needs that meant that they couldn't travel to a local group. Or there was a couple of guys that have got involved from overseas. I think there's a chap from Moscow and one from the States somewhere, and obviously there is a need there, and it's a service that we could and were able to provide. So that is very much going to stay there. And to get involved, you just simply send an email to info@andysmanclub.co.uk, and we'll send you back a link saying how to connect, and go for that service. It really works well.
Excellent. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add? Anything else that needs to be said at all?
The bottom line is, if you're interested in anything you've heard today, then come along. Andy's Man Club is in Exeter at the Exeter Football Club. So if you arrive for sort of 6:45 p.m, and we'll get started at 7. And whatever your background, don't be shy. We've heard a lot of weird stories over the years, and none of them leave the room. We don't take a record of who's come along. We don't take a record of what's been said. So anything that's gone on that evening is quickly forgotten. So whatever reasons you've got for not coming along, put them to one side. It's just 2 hours out of your life. If it doesn't work for you, you haven't really lost anything.